I'm looking for the sign that said, please stand up.
No.
You know, I ain't Slim Shady.
That's all you.
Oh, that's awfully sweet. That's ridiculous. Thank you.
So, thank you for joining me, by the way.
A thrill, Josh. Thank you so much for having me, brother.
You are an icon of the sort of modern Western. Like you've been in Young Guns, there's Gangland, there's Longmire, there's so many different things, and I'm wondering what specifically draws you to the genre.
Good roles. I mean, first of all, you know, I grew up in Texas. My dad was in the military. There's a lot of my dad in that particular performance. Yeah, he's kind of turned into Foghorn Leghorn now, but I love him. You know, but raised with, you know, some manners, you know, a code of honor, you know, some ethics, all that stuff. And you know, you look at a show like Longmire, where my character Henry Standing Bear embodied all of that. You know, and whether it's old school westerns like, you know, Young Guns or sort of the neo westerns like Longmire or Gangland, you know, these are stories of morality, and they're hopefully aspirational, and the characters are people that we can look up to, you know, everyday heroes, and so that, you know, that appeals to me.
It seems like you look at older westerns, and there's this aspect of like a big wide sort of unknown, and when you look at the earliest westerns, people still felt that way about the people that were in the movies they were watching.
Yep.
Not just like the character and the morality side of it, but just actually like, what is the middle of Arizona? You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
exactly.
And so I think that now we're just in this like new side of what makes up a Western.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how you think they've evolved from like what they used to be to what they are now.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you know, in the 70s, and I love this, man. This is a great line of questioning. In the 70s, you know, you had, you know, Butch Cassidy and, you know, Little Big Man, one of my particular favorites. And all of a sudden, you had these revisionist Westerns that started looking at things from both sides of the line. You know, Gangland is about indigenous people. You know, it's about gangs, which happen in practically every ethnic community in this country. You know, but this is on the res. It's very much like Training Day, Denzel's Training Day on the reservation, and it still tells big themes. It has big characters. Life or death situations, and it's interesting that you say that, because we shot this in Oklahoma on Cheyenne Arapaho land, so, you know, massive thanks to them, and the land is part of it. You know, it's you know, you think of John Wayne and, you know, out in, you know, Monument Valley or something. And we shot this in Oklahoma and froze our nuts off. Yeah. I didn't have to cut mine off like Lewis Black. I just, you know, just falls right off in Oklahoma. That wind comes sweeping down the plain, and oh, my nuts. But you know, it informs the performance. You know what I'm saying? Being there, being in the middle of that. That's why we shot both Young Guns in Santa Fe. You know, Longmire shot just outside of Santa Fe. It really is a connection to the land that helps to tell that story.
And so it's much more than a background or an aesthetic. It's like,
it's another character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. Vincent Greshaw, amazing director, brilliant director, and this cast is unbelievable, guys. It really is. Introducing a lot of young Indigenous actors who are getting their first real breaks. James Whitecloud, who was in that, Elisha Pratt, Nathan Lane Factor from Reservation Dogs. Just a wonderful cast. But there's the series of shots that Vincent did of the police car with the lights on going through these vast areas, and you get that feeling. It's the Lone Ranger out there trying to, you know, keep everything together before it blows up.
And so when you are acting in a movie like this, does it have an even more special place, not just in your heart, but like in your hopes for its reach because of the
huge? I mean, first of all,
cast?
Thank you. You know, it's an independent film, and we're seeing, you know, a lot of independent films break through now. We're seeing artists come from, you know, social media and a lot of different places. I'm currently, I just got reelected, woohoo, governor of the actors branch of the Academy, and that's our, thank you, brother, but that's our mission. Thank you. You know, finding those artists, finding those storytellers from whatever community in the U.S. and around the globe that can tell these stories. And so my heart was with this one from the beginning because it's an Indigenous story that employs an amazing amount of Indigenous talent, both in front of and behind the camera. And it's one that has affected every audience that's seen it. We've won a number of awards at festivals. We're 100% on Rotten Tomatoes right now, and it's going wide very soon. But we need people like you in this show to help get the word out because I mean it's artisanal, man. I am hand carrying this bad boy everywhere. You know?
No, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes is wild. It means everybody, even because people, so many different people come to watch a movie.
Yeah.
So then there are people who knew about the movie that were excited.
Yeah.
Then there were people that were like, I'll give it a try. Then there's haters.
Yeah.
And the haters, that means even they were like, oh, yeah.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Oh. And I'm curious in your journey with acting, how you sort of navigated what feels like a new era. There's this thing now looming over the industry, even if it's not materializing in the way that people are afraid of yet, of trying to be an actor or any sort of artist in an age of AI and trying to fight for your stories to be told while the people with money are just looking to do things cheaper and cheaper.
And faster.
And faster. And so what is your sort of thought process going into your art practice now versus years ago?
You know, we're the sentinels. We're the sentinels making sure that, you know, that this doesn't take over, you know, and actors, you know, they're going to have a harder time replicating performances from living actors. I mean, you know, we have our first AI performance in Val Kilmer in that upcoming film. He will not be recognized by the Academy because it's not a human-based performance, you know, and we have set rules to do that. Where every performance has to be human-based. The Academy is now doing a lot of things that are making sure that we stay within those guidelines, you know, of what is, you know, human-generated. Now, yes, AI is going to be a tool. Many people are going to use it. We're trying to figure out how to navigate that. You know, I think writers, you know, are probably a little more worried. Certainly, you know, storyboard artists and production designers, visual artists, they're a little bit more worried about that. But once again, you know, we're going to try to maintain that. And you talk about talking to a new generation of artists. It's like, I'm going to sound like an old fart, man, but, you know, I've been around for 40 years, and the reason is, you know, I love the work. I got into it loving acting, loving telling stories, directing, writing, all of that stuff I still do, and I do it the old school way. And you can get famous really quickly. You can make a lot of money really quickly. But is that going to turn into longevity? Is that going to become a career where you can talk about this again in 40 years? Or is what you are doing so trendy that everybody's looking for the next thing that comes along? You know, once again, you know, as they say, you know, don't build your foundation on sand.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that there's something so interesting about actors who are willing to have this huge filmography, like, you know, like 100+ movies, 70 movies, you know, like TV shows, and doing a little bit of everything. You feel like that love for the work that you have and that longevity of a career, do you look at those things as completely intertwined? Like, do you think that you would be able to do as much work if you didn't love it so much? I ask this because I feel like you are seeing more projects than ever, and I feel like it's maybe I'm giving myself too much credit, but I'd like to believe that I can kind of tell when someone's heart is in a project and when it's not.
Yeah.
And in a world where so many things are getting made just to be made.
Yeah.
I mean, where do you think that sort of puts you as you add on? Because you've got other things coming up.
Yeah. I get asked a lot, you know, what my favorite genre is, role, film, whatever. My stock answer is my favorite genre is the genre of employment.
Sure, sure.
And you know, thank you. It's a work ethic, you know, that comes from Texas. It comes from my dad. Yeah. But you know, I'm theater trained. I have a degree from the University of Texas at Arlington. And back then, man, you know, sometimes you were the lead, sometimes you were supporting. Could be comedy, could be Shakespeare, could be Mamet. You could be running the spotlight, or you know. And I painted all the backdrops. So for me, it was about loving so many different aspects of what we do and feeling really lucky that I continue to get to do it, you know. And so we got Gangland Gangland and, you know, start the second season of Chair Company, you know, in a couple of months. Thank you. You know, and they couldn't be more different, you know. I just finished a wonderful miniseries called Count My Lives with Shailene Woodley and Kit Harington and Lindsay Lohan, Catherine Lanasa. I get to be a love interest at my age, you know. So yes, I'm constantly looking for it. I never do anything that my heart isn't in. But I have to say that, you know, I mean, however the universe aligns, I'm getting roles that challenge me, that interest me, that you know, really make me stretch. And I haven't repeated myself yet, only once, and it was called Young Guns 2. But, you know, I've been able to build fresh new characters for everything I've ever done. And, you know, I mean, that means a lot to me.
Yeah, well, your characters challenge and interest us, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Gangland is in select theaters and all digital platforms July 10th. Lou Diamond Phillips.